Welcome back, warriors.
Yay!
Woo-hoo. We are excited to be with you all again today.
We are, for sure.
So, we are doing a new kind of episode today. You know, sometimes we've got our topics, our themes, and then we've got our mundane anxieties. And so today we're kicking off another little mini series here.
Yep.
The Anxiety Diaries.
Ooh, sounds
Anxiety Diaries.
Yes. Well, now we got
That's
a
the
sting,
new.
so it's official.
Official sting. Anxiety Diaries. I'm only repeating it because I need to remember what it sounds like for next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
I like it.
So
I'm feeling it.
what are the Anxiety Diaries? Here was the thought process behind this. Sometimes coming up with topic ideas is exhausting. Number one. Number two,
Wait, I have a question.
anxiety.
Do you get anxiety thinking about anxiety topics?
I mean, you know I do, because we talk about this all the time. So yes, warriors, now you're in on the secret, air quotes. Thinking of new topics, you know, for as many episodes as we've had in 2.5 years, which is also crazy to say.
It's like over 120.
Yeah.
We have over 100
topics.
Yeah.
What does this say about us? And so the thought process was that like sometimes stuff is so minutia maybe, or it comes up in the moment and you're like, I can't even categorize this, or it's just under the umbrella of like the 25 other topics we've done in the last 6 months, right? And so we thought, or I thought, and Abby's on the ride, we're going to see how this goes, that we would once in a while kind of check in with like what's happening in our anxiety journeys in the recent times, and just like do a little like, what is it? Not taxi cab confessionals, or like, what is it on a reality TV shows when like people are sitting in the chair and they're
like
just
the confessional,
right? Like,
yeah,
confessional.
They're just in the confessional room. They're doing confessionals. The taxi cab one is a little naughty.
I was gonna say that was a dirty show back in the day. I'm aging myself here.
Was that
on HBO? HBO. Hell yeah, I was on HBO. I watched that as a kid when I was definitely not supposed to be. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, at friends' houses. That's when I would see it.
Oh my goodness. I feel like, you know what? I feel like I had HBO on my bedroom TV and my parents didn't know. I don't think I was supposed to have that as a kid, but I had it. Anyway, Secrets from Childhood. That's definitely, maybe that's another good mini series.
Gonna write it down. Secrets from Childhood.
There you go. Secrets from Childhood. We know we've got lots of those, please, warriors. I can imagine all of your stories. So basically, right, we're going to do these like mini confessionals here and there. They're not going to be dirty. I mean, I suppose they could be, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Not today, they're not. I'll speak for me.
Yeah.
So we're just doing like a little check-in with like what's happening in the anxiety of the now in our lives. Sometimes it just pops on up. Yeah. Sneaks up in the way that they do sometimes.
That's right. You're just walking down the street, feeling normal, no anxiety, super calm, and then something random happens. And then you're like, oh my God, now I'm anxious and I'm perseverating and I can't stop thinking and overthinking about that exact moment. And now I have anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like an escalation from a past situation too, right? It's like a former anxiety, or maybe not that the anxiety went away, but a former experience that caused you anxiety that maybe it's changing, right? It's evolving and maybe not for the better. So I think I'm gonna jump right in here and just say that like something that's been weighing on me and my anxiety lately is my Hurley boy.
Yeah.
You know, we had done a whole episode about pet anxiety a while back, and you know, I mentioned that, you know, he's over 14, he's got congestive heart failure, he's on tons of meds, you know, bring him to the vet regularly, but there's just, it feels like every day over the last few weeks, especially, that there's like little things, new things that I'm worried about with him that I didn't have before, even with learning about his congestive heart failure, even with, you know, the changes in his need for medication and how often he needs to walk because of that and all of that stuff. So like the latest stressor, this is literally within the last 2 weeks, is that he no longer wants to eat his usual food.
Oh my God, it's so stressful. It's so,
I know.
It's so stressful when your dog needs to eat
Yeah.
right?
And they're
And
not eating.
and they're not eating. Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like literally doing songs and dances. Like,
Yeah.
hello,
We had,
honey, here's my chicken. Let me, like
how
you're
can I
like,
trick
please.
you into eating? Like,
Yeah.
it's
How can
so
I?
frustrating.
Yeah.
It sucks. So the latest is that, like, he had always had the same dry food his entire life. And
Yeah.
it's like was working well for him. Everything was great. And he had lost a tooth in, like, within the last six
Mhm.
weeks. And so, like, his eating habits had changed since then. And obviously just with him continuing to age and his
Yeah.
disease progressing and all of this stuff. And so the we're at the place now where, like, he like really wasn't touching his food. And so we were trying everything. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna soak it with some water. Okay, we're gonna, maybe we soaked it for too long and it became too mushy. Now we're gonna mix it with this other food. And so we mixed it with this other food. Then it's like, and every time we put food in front of him, his mind changes. It's
Yeah.
like one day it's like I put down the normal food and he eats it. And then when he
Yep.
goes to have dinner a few hours later, it's like, nah, I'm good. And
Right.
so now we just have to have like seven different things at the ready
Yes.
to make sure
Yep.
he's getting all the nutrients. And like our vet was like, give him this type of wet food because it's going to cover
Mhm.
all of these bases. And he's going to make sure, because he had lost a couple pounds during his last vet appointment. And we need to keep his strength up. And how do we do that? By making sure he maintains a healthy weight. So it's just been a lot of that the last few weeks, last couple of weeks, especially. Just like
Yeah.
every time I'm about to feed him, I have this like low grade anxiety of like, he's going to fight me. He's not going to
Yep.
want to eat. And he only, sometimes he's only eating from our hand. Other times he's
Oh my
eating from the
God.
bowl.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I know I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
that's
it's
been,
exhausting and it's so stressful because you love this little guy so much and
mhm.
you just want to do the best. And he's like, not like making it difficult on purpose, right? Like, I know it's not a behavior thing, it's just how he's feeling. Right. But
Yeah.
yeah, like every time you're getting ready for food, you're like, is this going to be easier? Or is this going to be, take a lot more time than I'm expecting? Or,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
Right. It's about planning for that extra time
yeah,
too, before work in the
right,
morning or
right.
totally. And now with the meds too, like he used to take it always with peanut butter, like no problem. But then he had a brief spell for a couple of weeks where he had a um a sinus infection and
Mhm.
allergies, like right at the peak of like that season, like last month.
Yeah.
And so we had to add two more pills to his repertoire of pills. And those had
Oh,
extremely bitter tastes, we learned. And so he was not even taking them in the peanut butter. And so now we were mashing them up, putting them into applesauce. We're like hiding them in like the dumbest of places.
yeah.
And yeah. And so we've got a decent routine going back now with the meds. And now that he's off those two better ones and back to just his normal congestive heart failure meds, he's back
Hmm.
to normal with the meds, thankfully. But even that, like, it's like he'll deny peanut butter sometimes.
Right.
What?
Right.
Like, what is going on?
Right. And like, I mean, I don't want to get too dark here, but at least for me, like when my dogs are appearing to struggle, right? I go to worst case thinking. I'm like, I don't want to say goodbye to you. And I automatically like,
Yeah.
think like I'm in that moment, right? And it's
Yes.
awful, right? So that's the other part
Totally.
of it is like when things are changing when they're older, right? It's like
Yep.
I have that image in my head, right? And so of saying goodbye, right? In case I wasn't
Yeah.
explicit. And so I'm sure that that's playing that part too there. It's like, no, stop changing. Stop.
Yeah. And I'm at the place now where like every time he's asleep, sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll jump up and just like
Yeah.
check his breathing.
Right.
Like, where I'll get up to pee and then I'm just like, I'm just gonna go ahead and count his breaths for the, and so like I'm just
Mhm.
like I'm definitely more attuned to him than I mean we were always so attuned to him. He's our one little like smushy boy, but like
Yeah.
we feel extra attuned to like every little thing that he's doing and it's just like trying to manage going on with life and the things that need to get done every day while also like having like some kind of pre-trauma that like I'm gonna like find him dead or something. Like I just yeah that's like my one of I mean this is I did not intend for this to be a dark
Yeah.
story
No,
or
I
episode,
get it.
but like that really it has it for the first time in all the years we've had him, like that's not a non-reality, right? And so
Right.
like it just feels like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen if I wake up one day and he doesn't wake up? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck am I gonna do? Like literally, when it's
Yeah.
like, what am I gonna do? Sounds like that could be like very, what am I gonna do? It's in like the what's the word I'm looking for? It's like not a real fear, right? Or it's not
Mhm.
real. But then like it's like I know what I'm actually gonna do,
Right.
but you're just kind of like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do with that? Like
Yeah.
I can't I'm just that's one of my biggest fears at this point because with our family dog, and we had a few dogs growing up, but I was really little when
Yep.
most of them had passed away. But then our one family dog that we had from the time I was like 7 until I was like 20,
Mhm.
somewhere in there, maybe 19, something like that. We had him for a long time and um that was great. We felt very lucky to have him for so many years, but he didn't die at the house, right? Like
Mhm.
they had to wind up
Mhm.
putting him down and so like we knew
Mhm.
we were all prepared, right? Like we were like,
Right.
okay, we're going right now to the vet and that's happening. And so like I don't even want to think about that part, but like for some reason my brain just goes to like, what if I wake up and he's just gone? Because that happened to
Yeah.
like someone I used to be friends with. Her husband had come home from work and their cat was just dead. And I'm just like, holy fuck. Like,
Right.
I still think about that. And it wasn't even me. I'm
Right.
just like, that is a
Right.
traumatic thing to have to
Yes.
have seen and witnessed. It's not like watching the life slowly sleep away. It's like, you don't know what happened, that you
Right.
literally know nothing. Yeah, so it's just like, this is so dark, man.
No, it's
Boo.
real. It's real. It's real. And I mean, I 100% can relate. Totally.
Yeah.
Right? And like anytime I hear of like someone's like pet dying, I'm instantly like, "Oh my god, I don't want to say goodbye to my pets." Right?
Right.
Yeah.
When you
So,
hear about anyone losing anything, you're just like you immediately put yourself in that situation. You're just
mhm.
like,
Right.
oh my
You put
God,
yourself
how
in that
painful.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think this is dark. I think this is very human. I think this is very like anyone that has pets that they love, like can so relate to this, right?
totally.
Aging
Yeah,
pets, sick pets, whatever it is, it's we love them. They're our best friends, you know? Like
yeah,
so it's hard, especially because they can't talk and they can't tell us what's happening, right?
yes,
And so, yeah.
yeah. All right, what's on the confessional for you? What's happening
All
with you
right.
lately?
Confessional for me. So, I've been having a lot of car trouble lately. And
Fun.
and the thing is like I I think my entire life like I've had like a few car issues here and there. Like I'm talking about since I could drive and like at 16 years old, right? But I don't ever remember like being someone with car trouble, right? Like, oh, my car's not working again, right? So
Okay.
I have a 2012 Honda Accord and I love it. I love it. Right. I got it in 2017. It was 5 years old. I got a really, really wonderful deal on it because I got it from a family friend. Um, that car, like when I was living in upstate New York and driving down to the city to teach, like that car took me to
Mm,
and from the city 3 hours each way in the morning in traffic,
yeah.
it got me there safely. Like I love my car, right? Um, it took me across, the country to Colorado and I moved out here with all my stuff, me and my
Mm-hmm.
car, right? And so lately, this first happened like, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. I went to get in my car to go do something. I can't even remember right now what it was. And it just wouldn't start. Just
Mm.
wouldn't start. Um, and Dan wasn't here at the time either, which like I've never been interested in understanding cars, although it would be a useful tool to have, right?
Sure.
But when your car doesn't start and you're just like, oh my God, I'm stranded now, right? I don't have, what am I going to do? Call someone to jump me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have lifts and all that, but I live in the suburbs. Like lifts take a while to get here and they are very expensive. So anyway, so I can't remember the first time where I was trying to go. And then all of a sudden, like my brake fluid was leaking. I had gotten that fixed a year ago, but something happened. That shop was awesome. They fixed it for free. Right. But
Mm.
so then I didn't have my car because we had to fix the brake fluid and I had to keep checking the brake fluid because I did drive a little bit around in my area when I had to like go take my dog to physical therapy. Right. So, and then I had plans to see a friend, and we were going to go to this place where I was going to go try a workout. It's called the Spenga, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really like excited because, me, I'm trying to make friends, have like people to hang out with. And I've also been really wanting to work out, and to go to a Spenga class, you have to let them know you're coming ahead of time. And so I had to get there like, 20 minutes early. And I said, I'll be there. Right. And, right when I'm getting in the car to get to Spenga, my car won't start again. Right. And so at that point, like, I'm like crying because, first
Mm.
of all, I have to bail on my new friend.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm irresponsible, right? I know I can't predict car problems, but it makes bailing last minute is not
Yeah.
something I like doing. I used to do
Yep.
that all the time in my 20s because of anxiety, right? I don't do that anymore. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
say, like, yes, I'm going to do something. No, I'm not going to do something, right? And so to cancel last minute causes me a lot of distress. Also,
Yeah.
then I had to tell Spenga I wasn't coming, right?
Did you get a
Um,
refund?
I didn't pay. They do the first class for free,
Okay. Well, that's good at least.
right?
At the very
Um,
least, but yeah.
and then I had to like cancel all the things I had for the rest of that week
Mm.
until, and then so Dan and I were like, okay, so it's just not starting. Maybe the battery after like 4 years, maybe the battery's just crap, which is weird because batteries seem to last longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and we had changed the battery 4 years ago. So he bought a new battery. We put it in. I'm like, yay, my car is working again, and this and that. And then just this last week, I had to take Arrow to physical therapy, and I had a dentist appointment. I had all these things to do. And I'm like, oh, we got a new battery. My car's fine. I go, and my car won't start. It won't even
Mm.
turn over. Like all these times I'm talking about, it's like just dead, like
The
dead.
hell?
So it's probably an alternator thing. I'm getting it into the shop this Thursday. But what I had to do was, one, cancel the physical therapy last minute, right?
Yeah.
Again, makes me feel super irresponsible, makes me feel like a flake, even though I'm not.
Mm-mm.
Luckily, they didn't charge me for the visit that I missed. I had to cancel my dentist appointment. I've been having some like TMJ problems. I was supposed to be getting my mouth guard, had to cancel that last minute. They were also very accepting. And then I had to cancel the zoo because I need to get my car fixed before I can volunteer at the zoo. And I was supposed to be working with the stingrays. So again, even
Boo.
though it's a volunteer gig and, it's not a big deal, it still makes me feel like
Yeah.
unresponsible.
Right. No, I
Right.
get it. I get it. I mean, that's first of all, car troubles are like not talked about enough. I feel like it's one of those like annoyances that everyone that drives, I guess, or relies on other people to drive them or whatever. It's just like that unexpectedness of having something that we rely so heavily on, right?
Yeah.
Just immediately just crap out for what feels like no freaking reason. It's the
Right.
worst.
Right. Like if I knew like, oh, I'm having car problems, I would have like planned for lifts and stuff. Like when the brake fluid was leaking, I was able to plan ahead of time. I was like, okay, like I'm not going to drive to all these places. Like I could take a lift somewhere and then walk home. It's like a 20-minute walk. It's not a big deal, right? But when you're just getting ready to go for an appointment and the place is like a 30-minute walk and you didn't plan for your car not to start, you can't just get a lift.
Right.
It takes too much time where I live.
Yeah.
And so just all of that stuff, like, I mean, I don't like last minute change of plans, right?
Yeah.
That really
Yeah, that
bothers me.
sucks.
Also, now everything I've canceled, I now have to do another week, right? Which
Hmm.
changes plans for other stuff.
And also, we
Um,
know we hate booking things because
yes,
booking things is a pain in the
I
ass
have
too.
not called the dentist back yet because just
Exactly.
dealing with that, it's like, come on, I already did it once, right?
Right.
Just too much. Um, and ultimately it's like, I've said it before, but I just feel like a flake, even though I know I'm not, but it feels
Mm-mm.
flaky to bail last minute. It does. But also, like, I love my car.
Yeah.
I love my car. I love it. Like, it's
Hmm.
been a very good car to me. And it's like, dude, what's happening? Right? Like,
We had a
it,
good, strong relationship here.
yeah, it only has 80,000 miles on it. It's 11
Mm.
years old now, but it only has 80,000 miles. I think that that's pretty low mileage, right? Like, I treat it well. I love it. Why is it doing this?
Why is it doing this to you? Mm-mm.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's been my late stressor. And it's it's not trustworthy, right? I feel like I can't drive it anywhere, even if it's a short distance, because am I going to show, because we can't figure out what's wrong. Is it a
Yeah.
current leak? Is it the alternator? Is it the did the new battery we buy, was that a bad battery? Like,
So the shop doesn't know what's wrong still.
well, the shop hasn't seen it.
Okay.
We got a battery from like an AutoZone or
Mm,
something.
okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So
So
those are like next steps then.
we'll get answers on Thursday, tomorrow.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's so frustrating now. Like I feel like I could feel when you were saying like one thing after the other that you had to
Mm-hmm.
then change or that needed canceling. And obviously, I just want to validate it again that you're not a flake. You
Yeah.
can't, you can't. I know we're control enthusiasts. I know you're very much a control enthusiast, and you take your responsibilities seriously, and that's what makes you such a great person and friend and worker and all the things. But at the same time, it's like this shit can't be helped. This is just going to happen. That doesn't make it less annoying or frustrating, and you wish
No.
it doesn't happen. It's just like that
And
part
then like
sucks, but like
calling
you're not a flake,
everyone. Like,
right? But it's just like one thing
hey,
after the other. Too many
yeah.
things
I
at
have
once.
to call all these different places and be like, my car isn't working.
Yeah. It's like you have to reschedule freaking life because of that.
Yeah. If I lived closer to the city, a lot of things I would just do a lift for. But since I don't,
Mm,
you know,
yep.
yeah.
Yep. It's just inconvenient. And sometimes those
Yes.
little inconveniences. And it's an expense too, right? So it's not even just like, oh, it stopped working, but then it magically started working again tomorrow. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to get it fixed. And who knows what
Right.
it's right. You figure out what the problem is and what's going to happen with it. And just up in the air, too many things up in the air's anxiety.
Yep. 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 And then like I feel like trapped in the suburbs. Again, I can get a lift, but it's a lot of you gotta plan that, right? So it's not like I can just hop in my car and go somewhere and hang out with friends. Like there's a lot more planning that needs to be involved now. And
I
so
know.
it's just been disappointing. I was gonna hang out with a new friend. She has a baby. She
It's
was so
hard.
super understanding, but it's not like I can be like, hey, let's hang out tomorrow now. Right. It's like she needs to
Right.
plan too. Trying to make
Yeah.
friends, trying to exercise, trying to get my dog's legs good, like, come on, Car. We've had good times together.
Right. I want to say how much I deeply love how often you shit on the burbs. I feel like they're all just mini call outs to Dan to like hurry up and figure out someplace else to live.
No, we've been looking. I mean,
I know.
if you want to talk about another daily anxiety, it's
Yeah.
looking at Zillow and seeing how awful the
Oh,
housing market is. It's awful.
Zillow it's like a downward spiral, that website.
But there's nothing new, right? You're always
Yeah.
seeing the same crappy houses, and it's like literally like how's it like it is like it's like, hey, you need to tear down this house and rebuild a new house because this house is so horrible and we're only selling it for $850,000. Right? It's like the housing
That's
market
it.
is
Just
so
a drop in the
incredibly
bucket.
awful. Yeah. It's like it's ridiculous. It's like, yeah, the foundation is super, super screwed up and the house is gonna collapse on you, but
But it's
seven
under a
hundred and
mill.
fifty thousand dollars. It's a steal. It's like it's
You
so
just have to
anyway.
pour 500,000 more dollars into it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is like Dan and I have been looking. We've been looking for over a year now, and the housing market's awful.
Mm, it
Yeah.
does not sound fun. I
No.
do. I mean, I feel for you. That sucks.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So, Warriors, what is like going on with your day to day lately? Are there little anxieties that are cropping up that either are, evolutions of past anxieties or anxieties that are always around? Or are they brand new little annoyances or things that you're just kind of like, oh, this sucks. I've had to change everything because of it. Or, I wasn't anticipating that. I think it always comes down to like what we anticipate our day to be like, or our week or our month. And
Mm-hmm.
when like monkey wrenches get thrown in, right, you're just like that much more frustrated. I saw a really funny, I think it was a reel like 2 days ago. And I think I showed it to Anxiety Warriors Instagram stories, but it was just like a dog who like dropped something like something fell off the couch. A dog was on the couch and something fell off the couch. And the dog kind of like acknowledges that this thing that, it was holding like a toy or whatever has
Mm-hmm.
fallen and then just flops back on its back and howls like, It's just like, and the caption or the text on the reel was something like, I think I handle frustration really well. And then like also me, right? It's just like, oh man, I relate to this so hard.
Yeah.
Like those
Yeah.
little daily things or big things, right? That come out of nowhere and you're just like, who do I have to talk about this with?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like have you heard like the spoon theory or the fork theory in the neurodiverse community?
Like being out of spoons.
Yeah, being out of spoons or being stabbed with too many forks.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
Ryan had brought this to our attention,
Yeah.
right? At
Okay.
one point back in
Yeah.
like during his episode.
There's spoons and there's forks, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
different philosophies. One is you have a certain amount of spoons every day. You don't, big
Right.
things, little things happen. You hand over a spoon. Eventually, you have no spoons. You can't handle small things like
Yeah.
dropping a paper towel,
Right.
right?
Like tiny inconveniences. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's because you've already given your spoons away to everything else, right? Or the
Right.
fork theory is, you get, stabbed with a fork. Okay, it's annoying, right? But it still go by your day, and then another fork and another fork and another fork until it's like, I can't, I
You're
can't deal
literally
with
filled with
this.
holes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which means like, yeah. Now I have just visual of like spoons and forks and
Being
all the things you
forked.
just described.
um, but anyway, so that's how I feel sometimes, like with just like with what you were saying in that dog, right? It's like, yeah, if I've had a great night's sleep and I had a great breakfast and I wake up energized, like these mild inconveniences, like no problem. But like if I don't have good enough sleep or I didn't have time to eat and my dogs are driving me nuts, then
Yeah.
it's like, I drop something and it's like my day is like for real. When my car didn't start on Monday morning and I had things to do, I debated if I should just go back into bed and cry.
Totally. I know when we texted about this, and I
Yeah.
was like, that sounds like a really good plan
Right.
because
Like at
sometimes we
that
just need to do
moment,
that.
I just couldn't, I was so overwhelmed and I was
Yes.
able to move through it, but that it happens. It happens. It's like
Yeah.
some,
But you needed support,
yeah. Yep.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like I mean, I know we had texted or whatever, and I'm sure you went through a plethora of other things and maybe other people, right, that you vented to or communicated this struggle with. And it's just like, there's like your little mini anxiety diaries. We need to
Yeah.
have a place where we can share these little things that
Mm-hmm.
come out of nowhere. They don't have to be, this big of a pain in the ass, like,
Right.
your dog being terminally ill in my case, or, having something that you rely on for your travel, for work, and all the things you have to get
Mm-hmm.
done in your day. Um, all of a sudden crap out on you. But like, this is the stuff that all of us warriors are faced with all the time. And so I found talking about this with you today, like super useful because
Yeah.
it's just like, where can we go if not to our warriors, right? If not to each other, if not to our community, our people,
Yep.
to talk about the little shit, right? And not just like, and it's not even that little sometimes,
Right.
but it comes up in the moment. And you're just like, I can't hold on to this by myself. I need
Yeah.
to let this out.
Right.
Right. And I think that, we'd love to hear from you, warriors. You don't have to tell us your deepest, darkest secrets or anxieties of the day or the week. But if there are little things that are eating at you lately, like we can be a listening ear. We are not
Yeah.
therapists. You all know this, please. But feel free to email us, just to have like another like person that just listen and be in solidarity with whatever it is you're going
Mm-hmm.
through. And we hope that you have people in your life, even if it's just a pretty little diary or a
Yeah.
journal, that you can vent out some of your little things or big
Yeah.
things that happen in the moment.
It's okay to vent. It's okay to be unpleasant. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there's so much like, oh, I'm gonna be annoying, or people are gonna judge me, or I should always be grateful for all the good things I have. It's like, no, sometimes you just gotta vent it out, and,
Exactly.
and then move on.
Vent it out.
Yeah,
Right. Because if you vent it out too, you're more likely to get through it faster. Or at least
yeah,
that's in my case.
me
I feel
too.
like that. Or I just feel less alone.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Feel better or you feel less alone. Like these are, I mean, I guess if you're talking to someone that's not a trusted person in your life, then you don't know what the outcome might be. But
Right.
as long as you are mindful about who you share your little anxiety diaries with,
Mm-hmm.
little downloads, anxiety downloads. All right, warriors, we love you so much. Thank you for tuning in again this week. Abby, do you have a win of the week?
Win of the week. I do. It's a small win, but it's a big win because, so
I love small wins. I
oh.
whispered it too quietly. I
Yeah.
love small wins.
um so you know how sometimes like we just like need permission to like do things that we enjoy? Like we
Permission
need to,
from
like ourselves. Like it's like,
oh
oh, I
sure.
probably should clean the house instead of doing this thing I enjoy.
Yes.
Or oh, I
Totally.
should do this thing that I've been thinking about forever instead of doing this thing that I'm going to enjoy, right?
Yep. 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 Yep.
Well, so my car has been not working well, and so I was able to pretty much read like 2 books in like 2 days. And
Wow.
felt like a big win and
Yeah.
really enjoyed them. One was lightly disappointing at the end.
That always
Um,
sucks.
I I don't think I'll give anything away. It's this book, Adelaide. I really enjoyed it, right? It talks a lot about mental health.
Mm,
And in her, like, she's dating someone in it, and I don't usually like I wouldn't call this a romance book, but I don't usually like romantic comedy books. Like
same.
that's not my
Yeah.
thing. I like literary fiction, but like it just I don't need the romance, right? Anyway, it's just too formulaic, right? Anyway, so
Totally.
in this book, like she is a classic anxious attachment and the guy she's dating is an avoidant, and I was like, "Oh my god, this author is going to educate us. She's going to and no, they ended up giving her a totally different diagnosis and never giving the guy the label of avoidant. And I was like very disappointed because it was so well written. It was so well
Mm,
written. And if they had given the attachment lens at the end, like I would be raving about
yeah.
this book everywhere.
So there was
Anyway,
no attachment lens at all?
no,
So then
even
how did
though,
so you came up with the fact that she was anxious and he was avoiding just because of your own knowledge and while you were reading these characters?
yeah. I mean, it was
Okay.
classic. It was classic. And at the beginning,
I
the
love that you're bringing
author,
the science into your fiction novels. This is something you need to work on.
no, I don't usually do this. I like, but this is like taking the book attached and putting it into like a literary novel. Like
Oh,
this, it was so classic. She would text him and he wouldn't text her for 7 days. Right?
ugh.
Like that is an anxious avoidant. And like it's hard for her to
Yes.
focus and it's hard for her to like function. And she's like a classic people pleaser in it. And he's a taker, right? And it's
Oh
like,
God.
it was so good. And I was like, and I know so many people could relate to the story. And so I was so excited for us to find out because at some point therapy is happening. Like, I'm so excited for people to find out about attachment theory. And then they just give her a different diagnosis. And I was not happy.
Mm, I can understand that
Yeah.
disappointment coming from your
Yeah.
lens.
Yeah. And the
But two books
author,
in 2 days, that's
two,
really good.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
That's good.
one book was like, it was like 2 days for the one book, right? But I like
Still,
finished one book and then started another in like a day, and then I finished that book. So it's like
that's a lot of reading.
it was a lot, and it was
That's a lot of
very
reading.
enjoyable. It was
That's
very
it. Sometimes you
enjoyable.
got to just shirk all your responsibilities and other things and just
Yeah.
read for the
Yep.
sake of reading.
Yep.
I'm always here for helping you to continue that habit because that's a good
Thanks.
one to have.
It felt like a win. It felt like I finished
It
2 books
was.
in a very short time.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
remember them.
I do. I remember both of them. Yep.
There you go.
The other
That's
one
always
was
my issue.
Hello Beautiful. That was a good one.
All right.
That was an interesting one. I very much enjoyed that. That was literary fiction and over the progression
Okay.
of years and also with mental health stuff. This just was like I didn't plan this. But
Okay. I was going to say, is it like,
no. No, I just happened to order both those books from Book of the Month Club and they both happened to be centered around mental health stuff, and I was
perfect.
very pleased with how they talked about it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good, good. Now, Warriors, you've got some new book recs to check out. Maybe you have a different opinion on that. What was that first book?
Adelaide.
Adelaide. Maybe
Adelaide.
they don't mind as much about the lack of diagnosis. Or maybe you're going to be right in Abby's camp and you all can commiserate. Feel free on Instagram.
Really good book. Really good book. Just really needed a different diagnosis in it.
Or if you read it, Warriors, let Abby
Tell
know.
me what you think.
Yeah. Talk about
I'll
send
fight
us
you.
DM.
I'll fight you on this. I bet Morgan would be in my corner.
I'm sure she would.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about her, Morgan Winder, previous guest. Oh, I love it. That's a good win. All right, Warriors, we love you so much. Thanks for being with us. If you'd like to connect for any reason, hop on over to Instagram, join our family. We're at Anxiety Warriors Podcast. Feel free to shoot us an email at anxietywarriorspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your mini or big wins of the week. Share any interesting topic ideas that you have for us. What do you want to hear us chat about on the show? Or if you think it'd be a great fit as a guest on our podcast, let us know. Let's get you on the calendar. Take 2 seconds, smash that 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're tuning in right now. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following the show on all of these platforms so you never miss an episode, which helps both of us and you, of course, Warriors. And check out our merch shop and our show notes. We have got our Threadless link up there. Get yourself something fun or something fun for the Warriors in your life.
Yeah, I agree. They'd like it too. Everyone likes surprise gifts.
Right?
Yeah.
I know you have light anxiety about surprise gifts because then it's like, do I need to reciprocate and all those things? So like, I get that too, but surprise gifts are.
But they're also really great.
They're really great.
Yeah. If anyone wants to surprise us with some Anxiety Warrior merch, I'm sure we would gratefully accept it.
Or surprise us with some purchases.
Yeah. Yeah.
We love receiving those emails.
Yeah.
Another sale.
Yeah. We always snapshot, send to each other, do a little happy dance for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Warriors.
Well, thank you all so much for going on this journey with us. We're so grateful we get to do this with you.
Till next time.